everyone. Hey, this is JJ Humphrey. We're back on Elephant in the Room. Hey, we've got Bobby Cleveland back with us. Bob, it's awesome to have you back. I've missed you. I've missed having you on the program.
Yeah, well, I just got other stuff at church was messing up, and I
Oh,
thought I'd
yeah.
do the church stuff before I did this.
Well, it's always good to put the Lord first instead of JJ. Hey, I come second, though, Bob. I come second. Hey, Bob, before we get into what I said we're going to discuss today, I just got to ask you, Bob, are you a fascist? Because Drummond come out and said, can you believe that Drummond would come out and say that MAGA supporters are fascists? Is that not what he said? That's what I took it. What he said.
Well, I took it that he said that to anybody that didn't vote for him, they're fascist.
Well, that's
Yeah.
pretty much what he said, and that's what he didn't say it exactly like that, but that's what he was saying. And again, that's almost the very definition of a fascist is to tell everybody else what they got to do, and that anything they say is what is going to happen or what goes on, and everybody else's opinions are no good. That sounds kind of fascist to me, but that's pretty much what he come out. I was highly offended. Did it offend you, Bob?
Yeah, I thought it's kind of interesting. He'd turn out and say everybody that doesn't like me, there call him a name. I just don't. I don't know. I was shocked that he would say something like that.
Well, it tickled me that, and just for our listeners to know, me and you are on a group called Garbage. Got that name when Joe Biden come out and called us all garbage. So somebody that one of mine and Bob's friends started a group, and there's quite a few of us on now, and it's called the Garbage Group. And it shocked me because just about everybody on the Garbage Group was in agreement that they were pretty highly offended by that statement. And some of them are not necessarily what I'd say super conservative people on there. They're just, but everybody on there is pretty decent, good people.
Well, I've seen where a couple of people have really got it mad about it at state representatives from back. In fact, national representative, your friend, what's his name?
Josh King.
Yep, yeah, and
Yeah.
somebody else, the old AG, real nice guy. He come out and made a statement.
John O'Connor's ripped him for it. I mean, I've shared what John O'Connor put out. Absolutely, he's come out and just called him to it, called him out on it for. I mean, he didn't hold nothing back. So John's a good guy. I always like John O'Connor. He really a decent. Haven't always agreed with every decision. I don't think I would with anybody, but I agreed with almost all his decisions. And I would just say him and his wife are great.
Did you know one of your friends endorsed one of my friends for an election?
Who that?
George Cox, your Cox guy.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So he come out and endorsed who?
Oh, Taylor.
Oh yeah. Well, that's seeing, and a lot of people didn't think Cox was conservative, but I think right there will prove that if he comes out publicly and goes with Taylor, that's saying a whole lot. I mean, that says a whole lot about Cox. And
yeah, it does.
I will tell you, I love John. I love him, but I will also tell you Taylor is super nice guy. I don't agree with Taylor like I don't agree with you on everything on education, consolidation, and stuff like that. But I will tell you this, I'm 100% behind Taylor because I agree with him on the social issues and how to get back education. And again, I'm 1,000% behind him.
Well, I know him pretty well, and I've always liked him.
Oh, he's a good guy. He's a good guy, Bob. Well, hey, today, Bob, what I wanted to have you talk about, because you've been up there, you've been a representative. I don't know how many people know that, but Bob was up there, what, 8 years, something?
4.
And was up there when I was up there for a period of time. I had to keep him straight. I had to straighten him out. You know what I'm saying? But here's the deal, Bob. You know, when we were up there together, there was a lot more open transparency. The members were told stuff. We took votes on stuff. That's the way it's supposed to be. Bob, I don't know if you've been watching. Have you been watching this Representative Shaw?
Yeah, I have.
Now here's the deal. Shaw beats Wallace, okay? And Shaw goes up there, and they're just mad at Shaw. I mean, they're just mad because Shaw beat Wallace. That's all it amounts to. And they let him have, to my knowledge, he's been up there for 2 years. So he's got one election under his belt. Representatives have every 2 years have to go for reelection. I think he drew an opponent, so he's out there campaigning. But he's been doing this deal on transparency, and he's talking about how the House media, which the House media is supposed to be reporting for those elected officials like you and me when you were there. And guess what? He's coming out and showing where the House media will not report on things that he's trying to do. Did you get to see any of that, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what they're going to do. They might as well just shut that part down.
Well, it's aggravating because it's supposed to be for all the elected officials. Now, I'm not supposed to have to go in there and ask Kyle Hilburn, hey, may I run this article? Is this okay with you? Have I offended you anyway? I would sure hate to offend you by putting out an article. I got elected just like he got elected. They're supposed to answer to the elected. They're supposed to be there for the people. And yet, guess what? Kyle Hilbert is having complete control over what goes out and what stays in. And again, anything that you go against leadership on, guess what happens, Bob?
Yeah, they won't work with you. You can't do anything. I think there's a word for that, not just being.
It's called fascist.
Well, I mean, there's a word when you want to be the main person. You're going to call it out. You're doing
dictator. It. He's a dictator, is what that word would be. You know, but here's what's
been like that before. I mean, we didn't have it that way. The times I was up there.
Well, Bob, you know, I tell people I could kind of understand them doing it. To me, I filed lawsuits on them. I put the spurs on them. I go direct at them. Okay, if they're mad at me, I get that. But Jim Shaw's not been that way. Tom Gann hasn't been that way.
Not at all.
You know, the Woolley and all of these people that they will not let bills, Molly Jenkins. I could just go down a list of people that they are limited to getting their bills if they get any. Shaw, I don't think has been allowed to get any. Tom Gann, again, you know, I'll give you a good example, Bob. You know this smelter plant that's caused so much heat over there in Inola. And again, Tom Gann went in and said, let's have an open interim study. Okay. Now that's going to get the truth out. Let's let each side present. Let's have a open where people can see it. And guess what? The leadership did.
What did they do?
Denied the study. So why would you deny the study of one of the biggest issues in the entire state? Why would you deny that? And naturally, they're wanting it. They're for it. And so again, you know, they just want to do things in the background where nobody knows what's going on, and they get their little dirty deeds done in the background where nobody can tell, where nobody is going to be able to hold them accountable for that. And when you come out and you want to report on the media, if you want to come out and say, and again, this is in Tom Gann's district, and I don't know, I haven't talked to Tom, but I can tell you how they did me. Even in my own district, you're supposed to be able to report to your own district. But if you're reporting something against that House leadership, guess what's going to happen?
Well, from the people I talk with up there, the representatives, they all kind of, there's a bunch of them that he just will not let them do anything. Can't pass a bill, can't do. So I don't know why they don't just pass a rule that you're only going to, if you don't vote for me, if you're not for me, you're not helping me, you don't vote for the team, then you're out. But you know, when you're elected in a district, the district may have different opinions about that, and you're there to vote for what your district wants.
Well, you're there. to represent that 40,000 people or whatever that you're there to represent. And again, there always is going to be different. That's what say, Bob, when we started this. Where you live, if I lived where you live, I'd have probably the same opinion on how school should be, what should happen in school. If you come out to where I live, and if you were living out here for very long, you'd probably be pretty close to my opinion, because guess what? We have they're totally different where we're at. And people got to remember that, hey, I may be representing one area and be for this. He may be representing another area and be against it, but it don't mean that we're that far apart. We're pretty close on everything else, and we should be able to express our differences. I mean, I can remember one of the biggest things that you had when you were a chairman of public safety, and you wanted to consolidate a couple of agencies, and I was just like, hey, I can't, no. And I was the only one in there. I lost on all that, but it went to the floor and didn't happen. But the thing about it is we had a disagreement, and we're still really good friends. In fact, I really that's what makes me, I like it when people disagree with me, because it shows you, hey, they're not just thinking like you are. I didn't have to think like you did just because you're chairman. You let me have my say so, and I always appreciate it.
Well, they might as well up there in the House is just take those districts away. Just get rid of them. I mean, they don't do anything. They can't do anything. They won't let you do one thing. Can't have a meeting. You can't have a bill. Can't. They want to tell you how to vote. Now, just because you don't vote the way they want you to vote, then that shouldn't matter. Everybody's got an opinion, and
well,
I've never seen it. What I've heard from a number of people, I've never seen it like this.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Bob. I mean, here I did walk in, kind of got assigned to your committee. Walked in there the first day, one of the big bills you had, I disagreed with you. We went and butted heads, but it ended up being really, really great friends over that. And we can be, you know what I'm saying? I enjoyed that. And again, I got beat in your committee. I was okay with that. You were good with that. That's what it ought to be. We ought to be able to disagree, still remain friends, still be, and again, I can't think anybody I'm closer to up there than you, and we started off with a big disagreement, and we didn't always agree on everything else, but we agree on like 95% of everything. But that's the way it should be. You should be able to have open conversations. Guys, if you're on here sometime and you hear me and Bob, you'll think we're mad at each other. We may talk, hey, you don't know what you're talking about or whatever. But guess what? At the end of the day, we're going to be good friends no matter what. And that's what just irritates me, that Kyle Hilbert and his leadership team, if anybody disagrees with them, it's cut their throat. And this is their own team. If they'll do their own team members like that, what do you think they're going to do to everybody else? And again, they're not for the people. These are not things that are good for the people. And Bob, I mean, how many times have you been hearing, you're around me and you get as much stuff on DOC as I do. How many calls do me and you get on DOC? How many calls do I get on DHS, mental health, medical marijuana, all these calls coming in, school issues, kids being abused. And guess what? They're doing absolutely nothing. And again, if you come out and try to report that, guess what happens?
You're out.
You're out. You're enemy number one. And then they try to make you a liar. They try to paint you troublemaker, liar, always calling things out, never have any proof, have lots of proof, but they'll come back. Oh, he never proves nothing. That's because y'all won't. When did y'all ever let us have an opportunity to prove anything? And so it's just unbelievable.
Well, speaking of that, what happened to Danny Williams? I see they got somebody else after him now.
Well, here's the deal, Bob. I don't know all the allegations against Danny, and you know how I am. If I don't know, I'm gonna come out and say I don't know. I want to see the evidence. Show me what proof that you have that Danny Williams has done anything. And until you prove that, guess what? I've known Danny for quite some time. And until you just throw me down absolute proof that he did something that is worthy of what he's going through right now, then I'm not going to believe it until you prove it. He's innocent till he's proven guilty. But here's what's funny, Bob. Have you, I mean, since I've been up there, you ever known anybody get DUI? Can you remember anybody getting DUI?
No.
They've had, let me see, we had one guy get him DUI and they were going to bury it. And the reason it didn't stay buried was because Governor Stitt at Hart was after that guy. My opinion. Now, that's my opinion. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I think that guy was set up. I would be shocked if that guy wasn't set up. They watched him go into that bar. They called the police on him, and police were waiting on him when he come out. Now, he gave them the gun, and he cocked it. He shouldn't have been drinking and driving. He was about to get in his car, actual physical control. Already had a DUI on his record. He ends up getting a felony. And guess what? That our House leadership was just going to bury that and let it go. Got another guy up there at Tulsa, got a DUI. He actually called one of the representatives and the sheriff and everybody else trying to get him out. And, kudos to that representative, said, hey, you got yourself in there. I ain't touching it. You know what I mean? But that DUI got totally swept under the rug. The guy gets arrested again for public drunk and resisting arrest, I think. That was going to be kicked under the rug. But you remember that Democrat called Turner that locked herself in the office with that guy when police were trying to get him, and she barricaded herself in the office? Well, that they wanted to sanction her, to censor her where she couldn't vote on stuff and all that kind of stuff. Well, she came back and said, well, how are you going to do that to me when you done let all this other go right here? And guess what? They had to bring it up, and they had to do both of them. Had she not called that out, they would have never done nothing to their person and would have went after her. And you know what, Bob? She was a proclaimed gay, non-binary Muslim. And again, if she knew anything about Muslim religion, they'd cut her head off for being gay, So obviously she's sexually confused and obviously religiously confused. In my opinion, that's J.J. Humphrey's opinion. But again, I agree with her. She's actually pretty sharp. If you ever watched her present something, she's actually pretty sharp. She could have went a long ways if she just got off all that other crap. But anyways, I happen to agree with her. Why are you going to do that for her, not do it for over here? And then we've had another domestic abuse deal where our own leadership was involved in representing getting her Drummond to get it out from court, from the county, and him make up the decision, not out from the court, but out from the DA's office. And then he was going to try to do a little deferred and slip it under the rug. Well, how can you have, there's 4 pretty significant felonies that I named, never had an investigation, never, to my knowledge, suspended, never put it out on Facebook that we're having. And Bob, let me ask you a question. You know the Rules Committee, right?
Right.
Okay. My understanding last week, I think, they were going to have a meeting in the Rules Committee, but they declared it to be an executive meeting and only people who they allowed to come in a meeting. Now, I thought that those committee meetings were public. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, they're supposed to be public.
Not only public, I think they're supposed to videotape those where the public that can't get in can come back and watch those so that they can later access that or access it live time. I think that it's supposed to be filmed. I think that it's supposed to be open. And I think anybody that wants to attend, as long as they have the room in, now if they get overflow, they have to do an overflow. But I think it's a public and open meeting. But they're having executive meetings. I was not aware that they could have an executive meeting. Do you know, Bob? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I've never seen it happen, but till then.
Well, here's the deal, Bob. What I did, and tell me if you think this is reasonable. Okay, I wrote one of their main guys the one that handles all the stuff. And I said, hey, I'm up here going through this rule book, and I must be an idiot because I can't find the rule. I can't find a rule one that gives you the authority, just one or two of you, the authority to open an investigation on a member. I can't find the rule that gives y'all the authority to suspend a member. I can't find the rule that gives you the authority to not investigate yourself. How come, I request investigations on y'all, nothing ever happens, but you all of a sudden come here? Guess what I got, Bob?
What?
You ever heard them crickets?
Yep.
Crickets. I got crickets.
They didn't even answer you.
Didn't even answer. Didn't even bother answering me. Okay, so I turned around next week and said, hey, I wrote this last week or 2 weeks ago. I think gave them 2 weeks. I wrote this and requested that y'all tell me what rule, and you refused to let me know. Now, once again, I'm asking what rule, tell me the authority, what rule it is, gives y'all the authority. And I also want to know how that y'all determined, because I named them. I said I'm aware of about 4 felonies that's occurred since I've been here that y'all never investigated, actual crimes. I've turned over, information declaring that leadership has actually done wrongdoing, massive wrongdoing, and possibility of crimes. Really not a possibility. I got them dead banger for open records violation and conspiring to open records. And guess what? And Bob, here's what's funny, Bob. I could actually go a little further than that to say that the Attorney General was very significant in getting my lawsuit cut down, killed, stopped, terminated, whatever word you want to use. And again, I'd like to know where they in cahoots with the Attorney General to get that stopped. You know what I mean? And yeah. So here's what's funny, Bob. When I turned that over to them, instead of getting an investigation like they're doing on Danny, you know what happened on their case?
What?
They turned it over to a law firm. Now, how is it that they get a law firm to represent them? You ever heard of Coffee Law Firm?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not anything political. No political right there. You know what I'm saying? He's just working for the Senate over there on that side. Here's what's funny. I turn in allegations on them of which I have massive evidence. And they say, you're going to need to talk to, we're no longer talking to you. We're going to turn you over to Coffee Law Firm, okay? And then all my correspondence are going through this law firm. Now, you turn around and they're going to investigate Danny. They don't turn it over to a law firm. They're going to be the ones investigating. And then they're not going to tell none of us what's going on. Then they're going to lock you out and keep you out of this room. And then they're going to make sure nobody reports on it. So they kill everything in the media. My gosh, you talk about dictators. You talk about control. Bob, everything has been put in the hands of 2 or 3 people up there.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that they might as well just do away with those districts they're in, make things a little faster, move along than just to ignore. Now, what was his name? The representative that they beat Wallace? What?
Shaw. Jim Shaw.
Shaw. They wouldn't work with him from day one. He didn't even get a chance to do anything bad because they wouldn't work with him. They were mad about that because he beat Wallace.
And you know what? He's filed some really good bills, and I've watched him. He's not like bulldogish like I am. Like go after him. He's very polite, responds greatly, stays cool. You know what I'm saying? And I don't get up. You know what I'm saying?
Again, and others.
Tom Gates, same thing. I mean, same thing as Jim Shaw. You want to look at 2 very, very sharp people who file very, very good legislation. And again, here's the deal. I've sat down with Shaw and said, I don't agree on several things. He's had that Save Oklahoma Act. I wouldn't sign it because it's wrote too loosely. I agree with him on everything he's saying, but it's just wrote pretty loose. And I was like, I'll red ink it and then I'll sign it. You let me. And you know what he said to that, Bob?
What?
I'm open to that. you could read it and sign your copy. That you could, and I was going to do it and just never had time. But you know what I'm saying? He was negotiable on the thing. Just what he was wanting me to say is on these issues, you agree that we shouldn't have this. I'm like, I agree, but I wanted it worded where I'm not signing this massive agreement. I want it narrowed down to say, in this case, because again, if you sign just willy nilly anything, there's no telling what they're going to throw at you. And you learn that after 10 years up there is be careful.
Well, in this case with him, he did not get a chance to say no, yes, okay, nothing. They didn't like him. They wouldn't work with. They were not going to work with him.
Never gave him a chance. And Tom Gann's the same way. They don't give Tom, and I mean, he's one of the sharpest people up there, and very transparent. Tom Gann is a very, very transparent, got a lot of backbone. Anybody that has backbone that will stand up and call them out, guess what? They don't like them. And again, you can see it, Bob. Those that come in kind of under that, hey, they're going to be the Patriot group. They're going to be these hardcore, they got elected this way. And you just watch them. They'll start just folding. And again, I'm not talking bad about anybody, not saying that they're, they're bought and paid for. What I'm saying is they control them because you cannot get a bill passed. You cannot get your name on the door with the committee chairman or something like that, and you sell out, you become this docile individual that votes whatever just to get your name on board and just to get bills. Jim Shaw has not done that. Jim Shaw has done a great job of doing his own media. And if you watch him, Bob, I mean, he does a really good job on the videos.
He's impressive.
He does an awesome job on the videos. He's got great people helping him. Some of the same people that help him have helped me, and they're very, very talented. And so again, he comes out. He's very well spoken. He gets to it quickly, can explain it. I'm going to tell you, he's managed to keep his voter population behind him because he's informed them. Guess what? What they're doing is corrupt. And what I'm doing is right. And you need more people like me and less people like them. And I agree with him 100%. But you know what the big problem with that is, Bob?
What?
That group controls all the what?
Money.
The money. And again, it's hard to get elected. Now he did it because he got out, and you can do that in one district. But when you get statewide, or you get these biggers, or you get into an open seat where nobody knows who you are, we've got a seat down here, and I'm trying to tell people, hey, look at the guy that he won during the primary pretty handily. I'm hoping the other guy beats him, but he's got a challenge. But I'm telling people, look at those cards you're getting. Those cards are about $5,000 per district. Maybe 8,000. I don't know, but between 5,000 and 8,000 for these push cards. Can you imagine what Drummond has spent on push cards? And here's the deal, Bob. Everybody looks at his ethics. Well, he's only spent $4 million and Mazie spent 10. Guys, pay attention when you get one of those cards and look, does it say paid for by Drummond Campaign, or does it say paid for by Red Dirt or Love Oklahoma or Great Jobs Oklahoma or some fictitious name, whatever they put on there, which is just a bunch of lobbyist groups who are paying, and he's bought and paid for. When you see 100 of those come out at $50,000 a pop or better, okay. But like in my district, this old boy's probably put out 20 flyers at $8,000 a pop, and you go where look at his ethics, it's 30-something thousand. No, he spent 150,000. He didn't. These lobbyist group putting out. So again, that tells you bought and paid for. But nobody pays attention to that. So we're electing people who are sold out, bought, and paid for, and the people who aren't, guess what? Can't get their name out there. Big challenge, and that's I don't know how you accomplish overcoming that. I usually have a solution, but I don't know on that one, Bob.
Well, I don't know. I just listen to it and watch, see what's going on now, and hear things. But the long story short is it's a dictator. There's no other words you could say. Just dictators is what we've got going on now at the House of Representatives.
Well, Bob, when you were up there, all the money didn't flow through one individual, and now it all flows, and now they have complete control. I was listening to it, and Bob, you know this. I'm a big advocate of FOP, Fraternal Order of Police. I was in the third largest chapter. I was vice president in that third largest chapter. I was a state and national delegate many times. Went to New Orleans and to Kentucky and various other places, being a state national delegate. So I'm pretty fond of FOP. But FOP is putting their money through those dictators. And I can tell you one person where that all that money is went. They are not law enforcement, and they decide. Guess how much money I got from FOP?
How much?
That would be zero. Now here you are. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a certified law enforcement. I was a vice president of their third largest chapter, state delegate, and I'm the cat that don't get no money from FOP. Now that'll tell you about how things are going. And again, is FOP aware of all this? I don't see how they're not aware. And if you go look at who are they endorsing, who do you think they're endorsing for governor?
Well, they're probably going with Drummond.
They're going with Drummond. And again, how could you get out there and support Drummond if you open up your eyes? What investigations? What has he done? More, what has he not done? What has he not done? But I put out a little video the other day, Bob. I don't know if you saw my AI video about Blue Sky Bank. And I made some hippies called Dave and Dan taking their money to Blue Sky Bank, which is the bank that Gittner's over, that collects drug money. Now, you're the AG and you're collecting drug money in your bank. The only bank that takes drug money, that's a real head scratcher. Now you start a task force that's going to go out and bust all those people that have these grows and all that kind of stuff. Of course, you say illegal, but I'd love to do a check to see how many people were doing business with him got busted versus how many people wasn't doing business with him that got busted. I ain't saying it's so. I'm saying it just has the appearance of being pretty bad. And
what do you call that? The guy that's the attorney that would represent the House of Representatives, run that. What do you call that? He's
the advisor, the legal advisor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they have a legal advisor, but now they've got another. I think Chris Kennedy is now their official legal advisor there in house.
No, the one they have that represents them is a friend of the Attorney General.
Oh, you're talking about the Attorney General Solicitor General.
Yeah, the solicitor, yeah.
Yeah, oh, did you see that? My gosh. Again, we're not just talking about the bank because the Solicitor General is over the bank and over its law firm and get paid $205,000 from him to be over. And again, I think, Bob, in that article, I think I saw where they had a lawsuit against the Oklahoma Tax Commission for $460,000 or something. And again, how are you going to be the Attorney Solicitor General and then you're turning around and filing suit and you're the main one going after Oklahoma when you're supposed to represent Oklahoma? That's a little sketchy, I would say. All of that going on, and guess what? Everybody's ignoring that. Oh no, he's a law enforcement man. Y'all better check. You better check your compass on that again. And you know what, Bob? All the people we're talking about in this leadership plan, Guess who they're backing?
Back in that group.
Oh yeah. Getting their drumming all the way. They're backing him. That ought to tell people something. That ought to tell people something right there, because again, these people have totally shut down any free communication. And again, it's not just by the public, it's the public's elected officials are not allowed to report the truth. And if you think not, I've got memo after memo going, well, what? I'm not allowed to report the truth. We done told you 5 times what the deal is. Yeah, I can't report the truth because it would hurt. And they actually put in there, we cannot publish anything that would hurt the caucus or the leadership. Well, Bob, I'm sorry. If the truth hurts the caucus and the leadership, shouldn't we tell the truth?
Yeah.
If it hurts them, shame on them. Shame on them. But if I'm telling something that's harmful to the caucus, then maybe they ought to change what they're doing, and they ought to come out publicly and change. But Bob, I filed that open records and said, hey, here's the letter, and I think I sent in a bunch of this and said, here's the letter that DOC saying y'all made an agreement with them to stop me from getting records. And I asked them, hey, respond to this. They would not respond to it. I sent in an open records request. DOC then denied having it. Too late. I've got it. You emailed it to me. I've got it. You know what I'm saying? And then instead of opening an investigation like they have on Danny, instead of coming out on Facebook, well, we got an open investigation on all this. No, what happens? Oh, we're gonna hand you off to the law firm over here of Coffee Law Firm, highly political, massive political, and then they're going to turn around and my lawsuit that I filed against them, and Gettner Drummond's going to get hold of my attorneys and say, hey, kill that lawsuit, and then my attorneys are going to do that, and they were unpaid, and so that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not mad at them attorneys. I'm disappointed. I'd say I'm disappointed because they didn't call me and tell me what's going on. Had they called me, I'd went and got somebody else. In fact, that's how I found out. I went and got somebody else, and they come back, hey, it's been closed, And again, that's what's going on, is that they're doing all of these things behind, that's just, if it ain't illegal, it's highly unethical. And you got to remember this, Bob. Gettner Drummond come out and said, and I think this is a lot of the work we did going after DOC, not being able to get records, me jumping up on this thing right here, not being able to get records. He comes out and says, I'm going to be the, portal. We're going to open a portal where anybody who needs public records can call us, and we'll help them and assist them and get those right off the bat. Well, guess what? Then I do it. I'm filing something, and he's the one who kills it. This guy who's supposed to protect open records is the very one that kills maybe one of the largest open records cases. And it's just unbelievable. I just can't believe that what we're talking about, what we see happening is occurring. And again, one of the things that I allege against him is Kyle Hilbert has been filing into these grand juries and killing these grand juries. And now he's supposed to make sure, that's a constitutional amendment right there, first constitutional amendment, and it's for holding government accountable. And he's going up there and filing in illegally to kill a grand jury because he's mentioned in it, by the way. So really it makes it illegal when you're the subject of it and you're trying to get it killed so nobody can check on you. That's pretty shameful. But again, turn that over. Guess what I've heard on that?
Nothing.
And again, so here's what I'm asking. Who makes that decision? Who makes the decision? Well, killing a grand jury criminally is not worth investigating. But we got something over here on Danny that we're not going to tell the rest of the world what's going on. Okay. And again, I'm going to say this. I said it earlier. I know Danny. And if Danny is doing something illegal, I'll be shocked. But you hear how I say that. You hear how I say it because I've investigated. I've investigated so many people that I would not have ever thought anything on, and I found out I was wrong. Okay, so
Yeah.
when I go to investigate, I want to go after the truth. Lead me by the evidence. The evidence will declare what's going on. Either you have the proof or you don't have the proof. And so again, I don't know what they are alleging against Danny, so I can't say he didn't or did do it. I have no idea. But if you're going to come out publicly and you're going to say he's suspended like you've already found him guilty, shouldn't you at least say what it is that you're investigating him for?
Well, for the ethics commission to come out, they shouldn't have never came out about it. It should they could want to investigate and investigate. They went and announce it, making it look like he really did something wrong.
Well, and here's what's funny, Bob. You know, not too long ago, the DHS turned me in to the ethics committee saying that I would not give them a file on the Woolies. That they brought me over this file 2 years ago and that I refused to give it back. Now, ethics sends up a reporter or an investigator, and I was able to provide them with an email saying, to DHS, come get your file. Thank you for your pickup of the file. And they wrote me back, thank you, which proved they're lying. I never had a file, which should have opened an investigation on them. Where's the file? Obviously, y'all don't know where it is. You just said I had it. So obviously, you've lost this highly profile case. And again, with confidential information in it. So how did that ever happen? Okay. Guess what? That never got investigated. But I called the media because I told that lady, I want it written down what y'all investigated me for. I took that written investigation, sent it to the media. The next morning at 8, the lady over ethics called me. Hey, JJ, this went out to the media. We're not releasing that. We don't release anything to the media. And we're just wondering how they got it. I was like, I gave it to them. You gave it to them on yourself? Absolutely. I want people to see what is going on here. Okay. Now, the reason I tell that story is because the ethics told me they don't put that stuff out. They don't put it out publicly. Now, that's what they told me. Now, fast forward a month or two later, I do a video out on the front porch of the Capitol building. I get turned over because apparently that's unethical. And I knew it was inside, but I didn't know it was outside. Okay. But that's on me. I mean, I did it. I ain't taking no, I'll take full responsibility. But here's what's funny, Bob. I can produce you 20 videos of people doing that on the House floor, on the Senate floor. I mean, out there in the rotunda, out there in front of the buildings, you know, like I did, only on the inside of where only representatives can go. Okay, I can show you probably 20 of those. And yet, why did I only get investigated? Who had the juice to get me investigated on that? And then you know how I found out?
How?
The media called me and said, JJ, how do you want to respond to this reprimand? I said, well, first of all, what reprimand y'all talking about? Well, you got reprimanded by ethics. Really, what for? Making this video. I said, well, I'll shoot the video to you so you can see it. So I shoot the video to him. Oh, no, JJ, that's the wrong video. I said, well, be darned, man. I guess I did it twice. and it was, I did. I'll just say, tell everybody, I did it twice, you know. Didn't know. All right, but here's what's funny. How did the media get a hold of not only my investigation, but they got a hold of the tape of me doing it? So again, somebody called the media with the juice to get 3 major medias to report on something that's about nothing, but yet they found out I had an investigation. They found out I got a reprimand. They got the video. How does that happen, Bob? How does, when ethics is not going to give it up, ethics ain't even notified. I guess they'd sent it to me. But I don't even know it yet. Then how in the world does somebody else get it? Call the media, and I don't think it was ethics. I actually like the ethics group up there right now. I think they got too many stinking rules. I think they need to revamp ethics. But I will tell you this, Bob: the people who are up there right now are good, decent folks. I like them. I got to brag on them a little bit, and they've been after me quite a bit. But I got to brag on them. They're doing their job. They're very helpful. They're polite. I got not a bad word to say about them. But you see what I'm saying? Somewhere in there, that's going to some people with some juice. They're doing it only to harm me in my election. And again, just like this, how do they know what's going on? Who leaked that out? Who has the authority to suspend him? Because I don't know that ethics can file a charge against him if he has a felony charge. Okay. But I just told you about people who got felonies and they weren't going to do anything at all on them. And now here's Danny on a suspicion. And again, what are the allegations? To this day, I don't know what allegations are. And they've already put it out on Facebook that, and I mean, like you just said a while ago, they make him look guilty. I mean, it looks like he's already, it's already done. Court's been held and he's guilty.
Well, things that's happening up there, sure, it's not good. When I can hear about it, and I'm not even up there.
Well, it's aggravating. Just like I got an investigation by the OSBI conducted on me. Still, as far as I know, it's still open. I've laughed about it. They call me up and say, we're going to investigate you because you threatened these DHS workers. That's almost a year and a half before that. So here I am running an election. I get called, you threaten these people. And I laughed and said, hey, turn your recorder on because I'm gonna be the only guilty guy in the courtroom. And I said, you darn right, let me tell you exactly what I said. I said that I was going to do all I could to arrest their sorry child stealing, kidnapping asses and throw them in jail. Now that's what I said. That's the so-called threat. Now, again, do all I can to get you charged. So you got to go through the court system. Is that a threatening statement? Well, I mean, I'm threatening to do a legal action on them, all the legal action I can. Guess what? I'm guilty of that, but that's not illegal to do. And so again, I'm in an OSBI investigation. I can't get them to open investigations into rape, child abuse, detention centers, waterboarding kids at mental health institutions. Now, the OSBI refuses to investigate that. We have government officials stopping that. And that's why the OSBI partly refuses. And yet, guess what? They're going to investigate me because I say I'm going to try to arrest y'all and put you in jail. And guess what? Just so they know that it's true. That's what this grand jury in Payne County is all about, is trying to show who they are and get those folks arrested. And if we can do it in Payne County, it'll go throughout the entire state, I believe. But yet, who has the juice to get an OSBI investigation? Here, I got to share something else that's funny, Bob.
Okay.
So what I did, I called him up the next Monday. I actually wrote him. I didn't call him. I do every day. Try to do most of my stuff in writing. But I wrote him and said, after careful consideration of you telling me that I was under an inquiry / investigation, I have decided that I think that this would be a great opportunity for me to bring in all of the massive amounts of evidence that I have on the child abuse, child sexual abuse, rapes, the things that we were reporting on, because that's what this investigation is all about. And I have numerous witnesses. Please give me the date and time that you would like me to show up with my massive evidence and numerous witnesses. And they wrote me back and said, we'll get back to you. And that's probably been 3 to 4 months ago. That's probably back in June, May, June, somewhere like that. Maybe even April, I forget. But I laugh. Hey, they don't want to investigate. When you say, heck yeah, you got an open investigation, you darn Skippy, I love it. Let's go. Because I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to show you. Oh no, we don't care nothing about rapes. We don't care nothing about child molestation. We don't care about all the evidence you show us. We were going to come and try to beat you up and quiet you down and make you scared. We were going to use the OSBI to intimidate you and shut you up. That's what, and all of this is called under the color of law, guys. This is under the call. They are using the legal system. They're using the investigative system. They're using the Attorney General, and they are using the Supreme Court, and they're using our Oklahoma government to allow DHS to continue to abuse kids, to traffic kids, I believe, and to foster kids out, making massive money. They have allowed rapes to occur in DLC. They have allowed extortion to occur in DLC. They've allowed stabbings, murders, all of this in DLC. They're completely turned their head and shut down. It's not bad enough that they won't investigate, but what happens is they stop any investigations. And Bob, you're going to be one of the best witnesses for this. You remember when we turned in all that stuff with that psychologist, and me and you took her down there and took her to Matt Frisbee and got her legal, and then he had to drop her case, and we got her another lawyer. I referred her over there. She actually got it. She's won. They only got one more. They've appealed it all the way to the Supreme Court of Oklahoma. They only have one more hearing. They ain't got a snowball's chance to win that, in my opinion. And she's going to win. So everything that we were saying about her case and her wrongful firing and the fact that she was a whistleblower, guess what? We've won it 4 times in court. Gittner Drummond refused to investigate that. Went out publicly and said that absolutely they had investigated. DOC Harp went out and said, well, the AG investigated and JJ Humphrey is making it all up. Guess what? 4 times in court right now. Have they ever come out and apologized for that? And if you remember this, Bob, we brought in Jimmy Harmon, that's Gittner's right-hand man, and he testified because we asked him, did you ever talk to the reporting party, to that psychologist, to the doctor? Nope. Well, you never came talk to me. I just got to put all that together. Nope. Did you go talk to her attorney? No. Did you go talk to OMES who she turned all this into, who turned it into y'all? Nope. Well, who did you talk to? We didn't talk to anybody. Now, how do you do an investigation? Go out publicly on TV, call me wrong, and then get in there and admit never talk to anybody. You remember that, Bob?
Yes, sir.
And then we got on the rape deal. Well, did you talk to her on the rape deal? No. Well, did you talk to any of the victims? No. Well, did you talk to any of the alleged soldiers? No. Did you talk to the 40 other people we gave you as corroborating witnesses? Nope. Well, you didn't talk to me. Who did you talk to? Well, we talked to this James, the investigator. Well, that's the guy that we claimed lied. So you went and talked to the liar, and you talked to one person on all of these when we provided you emails, we provided you written, we provided you massive other people. And here's what's funny, Bob. I provided 2 other claims, people who had wrote us and claimed almost the identical thing that this doctor was saying at a different time. They were wrote at different times by different people that didn't know they were writing each. You know what I'm saying? They did not cooperate to turn it in. It's just unbelievable. And Gittner Drummond will sit back and say, and our House leadership is going to make sure that these investigations are dead, nothing come of them. When we have massive evidence, we got massive evidence on them. We got massive evidence of these rapes. We got massive evidence on the grand jury, and they're killing every one of these, but yet they're going to investigate Danny Williams. Won't investigate themselves. When you do get a hold of them, they're going to refer them. They get an attorney, and it never even goes in front of him. It goes directly at the attorney, and you get shut down.
Yeah. Well, JJ, I've got 4 o'clock, so you want to finish up?
Well, I guess we better, Bob. You got to get that ball game. Them girls are playing. What's that basketball player's name?
Caitlin Clark.
Oh, she is good. I will tell you this. And me and you watch basketball. I enjoy coming over to your house watching basketball. But I'm going to tell you, her and there's about 3 or 4 players on her team that just they brought a whole new entertainment into girls basketball, women's basketball.
I had never ever watched a girls basketball game on TV, and now I'm watching other teams too. But Caitlin they got some good people on there.
Well, it ain't just her, man. They got she's got some people under that she draws out people, and then she's awesome at passing. She shares the ball and she pulls them out, and then that opens these people under the goal. And she makes the passes that are just, but she's got some teammates that are just pretty salty themselves,
Yeah.
Really entertaining to watch. I don't watch as much as that as you, but they're entertaining. I
had a game the other night. I don't know what night it was. This is Sunday, maybe Friday night. They had a game, and man, it was just touch and go the whole game.
Right.
So they pulled out and beat these guys at their own field.
Well, I'm going to say this, and we'll get off. We talked about how wrong things are at the top in Oklahoma government, but I'm going to tell you something. They ought to fire the top of that women's league because they're letting them, the assaults and stuff that's going on. And I don't know in a ball game whether you ought to be filing charges, not filing charges. It's obviously intentional assaults, but at the end of the day, your referees are allowing it, and they're allowing all this, and then the stupid stuff they do with having men in sports. I love that guy named White that's come out and said that he's going to join their league, that he's going to. Have you seen him?
No.
Oh, he's a male basketball player, and he puts on a wig. He got a beard. He's like, I'm going to get in the draw on the women's league. I'm going to be the first. I identify as he's hilarious. I love it. He brings a whole it's about time somebody called him out. So it's good to see common sense people. It's good to see people standing up for the rights them women are, and I enjoy it. Hey, we're going to get off here. Bob, enjoyed having you on. You enjoy your ball game. You guys out there have a blessed rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you back here next Sunday. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, JJ. See you later.